This is the story of how we lost our awareness and our clarity, and how to regain it. As we grow up, our awareness is discredited, and our reason is captured and distorted with false data, and we try to live reasonable lives with these disadvantages. As a child, I saw things in the adult world which were contradictory to what they said. The contradiction was there. I saw it. My awareness was active, but my conditioned reasoning and logic wasn't far enough advanced or developed to override my awareness. What I experienced for myself in awareness, I was told wasn't so. Parents were the source of all knowledge of what was so. We looked to them to make sense of everything. One could do little else but just accept the confusion, until later when reason prevailed over observation and our awareness was overwhelmed and abandoned. We all experienced this, but it's probably buried so deeply we don't recall any of it. Under these pressures, as a child, I thought a lot, but it was mostly questions. It was mostly why, in the din of the accepted public narrative. I struggled to come up with answers that made any sense, and then I struggled to come up with any answers at all. When I challenged the adult's narrative, I didn't receive any answers. Mostly I received threats. We all did. We were all asked by adults what seemed the ultimate question. Who do you think you are? But it was never an invitation to delve into the depths of one's being. It was an intimidating demand to get in line, behave yourself, and keep quiet. In time, there's a voice which develops in our head, a narrative, talking to us and telling us all sorts of things, correcting our straying thoughts. But it never came up with a conscious, original thought. We start to lose sight of what questioning and thinking is. Awareness fades, and it's replaced by logic and reasoning within the accepted narrative. That is what we now take for thinking and reasoning and logic. Fitting in with that was done by conformity, or in other words, reason and logic based on the accepted narrative. If we had looked with awareness, we would have been much more grounded. Growing up in that reality, we would have developed more positively and constructively, as we would have been dealing with what was actually there and responded to what was actually there. But for most of us it didn't happen that way. With a little forceful encouragement and some schooling, one was living in the popular narrative in one's own mind, unquestioningly, instead of in the reality one observed. One was adjusting to the conventional wisdom, trying to conform to it. It was the way to get ahead. And the conventional wisdom was public opinion, including morals and ethics, and politics and religion, and even the national sports team. And we lived amongst so many distractions. We lived a kind of collective fiction which we all believed in, and it became difficult to see anything else. And so we grew up into confused adults in a life that didn't make very much sense. Our ear and eye was glued to the media for our interpretation of life, and we wondered why it wasn't bringing any peace and satisfaction, or making any sense. Reason and logic confined to that wasn't going to give us the answer. Awareness at any stage would have changed our life. Awareness is not the same as being alerted to something. If you bought a new car, you suddenly notice they're absolutely everywhere, and you hadn't noticed them before. You are now aware of them, but that's not the sort of awareness which will provide you with understanding. Awareness is clarity you experience when your mind is still, not filled with previous conditioning. In this state, you are aware within your consciousness, not your conditioning. This is a state you can consciously see something without having to reason through it. This is a state of natural awareness that keeps you alert and safe from manipulation. Awareness is experienced when you view life from a higher perspective, a perspective that's not lost in limited, conditioned thoughts. Whatever you're trying to make sense of, drop the emotions or feelings about it. They are generating all the thoughts. Be inwardly still. See what light comes to you. You will start to tap into wisdom.